Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back once again to Phatkat Collections. Got another RGMT watch for you folks today. And this one I'm a little confused on. I've reviewed this particular model a few times. This is a different color variation, and you guys are going to love it. RGMT has been an extremely popular brand. And I tell you, they give you a lot of bang for your buck as well. So RGMT is another brand under Dartmouth, and Dartmouth is sort of the parent company for brands like Spinnaker, Aviate, Nubeo, and a whole bunch of other ones. So very cool watch. The only thing is, so let me just give you guys kind of my little backstory here. Normally with Nubeo, I choose the watches I want to review. Generally, I try to get the newest ones because a lot of their Nubeo and RGMT, a lot of their watches sell out. And so what's really odd is a lot of the sales that are generated through my channel for Nubeo come directly from my videos, and then of course you folks go to Nubeo, use my coupon code, save a little bit, and buy the watches. With RGMT, I've driven tons of traffic to their site, not a lot of sales. And my problem with the RGMT brand specifically is that they don't do a lot of direct-to-consumer, which is, you know, well, that's my understanding. That's what I was told. So what's really odd is that all their watches are always sold out. And so I think they mainly focus on like wholesaling to different other websites to sell their watches, which is unfortunate because they're really missing the boat here. You can cut out the third-party sellers and sell direct to consumer like they do with Nubeo, but maybe that'll come down the road. But here's what happens. So normally I request a watch that look interesting to me, and then I share them with you guys, and you guys buy stuff, right? So now the newest plan is they're going to send me 3 seating watches per month. And these are going to be watches that they want to move, right? Watches maybe they're going to put on special and have those specials kind of aligned with my videos. So you guys get the best price possible, and, you know, we generate some volume here, right? So what I don't understand is they sent me this watch, and this is sold out. So almost every RGMT watch is sold out. So what is the point of sending me a watch to share with you guys if you can't buy it? Now, normally I would link you directly to their site. So any of the RGMT watches, until they kind of get their website lined up where these watches are in stock, ready to go, I'm not going to refer you to their site. I am going to put the link in there as well with my coupon where you could check it out. Just make sure it's not available. Usually you get it for the best price going directly through the manufacturer, you know, direct. But I'm also going to put where you can find this. That might be an Amazon link. That might be an eBay link. It just kind of depends. So let's talk about the watch. So this is the grease black version. This is the all Brite. And this is the watch for the guys who like the big, huge watches, right? Myself included. I will tell you, I wore my Zeus Bolt, the black one with the diamonds last night. You know, I tend to not wear the larger watches if I'm just kind of dinking around the house or running errands or whatnot, right? I definitely don't wear the big watches to work anymore. Just my job is very physical, and I don't really want to bang them up. Whereas a smaller watch, it's just, I don't know, they're all made well, like they can tolerate abuse, but depending on what you're doing for work, you may get in your way, right? And so this is definitely a huge watch. So this is not a watch, this is a tank. This kind of reminds me of the Aragon, I think it was the Parma back in the day. Very similar. It almost looks like a giant Submariner. And I'm saying that very loosely because a Submariner is just a round watch, right? So this is as basic as it gets. It's just huge. We have a basic 3-link bracelet. We have a huge case. We have a unidirectional rotating bezel. It's all very simple. Nice milled clasp on this. Dual push button deploying clasp with a safety latch. I like the fact there's no exhibition window. It's a giant, beefy watch. There's no other way to describe this other than it just being huge. And who's going to buy this? You know, there's a lot of watches on the market that are big. I'm not trying not to, I want to say this right here. Invicta makes a great watch. And I'm using Invicta because Invicta is kind of known for their big watches. If you want a big watch, you go with Invicta or you go with like a Diesel. Those are really the 2 main players out there for huge timepieces. A lot of the other brands have kind of backed off. Like Aragon used to make the big watches. Now they're really kind of topping out at 50. Which, you know, I don't know. I guess they know what their sales are like. I like the fact that RGMT, a lot of their watches are not this big, but I like that they still make something this big. And so who's going to buy this? You know, you might be a guy who's in the market for a big watch, and maybe you've already bought several Invicta watches. What I like about this, the best way to describe this, is I feel like this is very durable. And I'm not trying to downplay the Invicta brand here, right? Because Invicta watches are great too. But if I had to choose between wearing, if I'm going to actually wear this watch as a tool, right? And I'm going to, you know, go diving with it. I'm going to like just wear it out and about where I'm doing something more physical. I'm going to put my money a little bit towards this design, this style, as opposed to like a Venom, which is a great watch too, or the more gingerbread you have on a watch, the more potential you might have something happen, right? Not saying I've had anything like that happen, but this is just big, bold, simple, and huge. That's as basic as it gets. So, you know, if you are an Invicta guy and let's say you have a bunch of Invictas, the nice thing about watch collecting is the variety. And so I know for me, I like having different brands. So yeah, I have tons of Invictas, but I have tons of different brands, right? And so sometimes you do kind of get sick of it. All right, how many Invictas do I want to own? And you might want to branch off into getting a different brand. So I think check out RGMT if you feel that way. It's big, it's heavy, it's just a massive piece. Speaking of massive, it is 54 millimeters in case diameter. So it is huge. Now this one is their Tritium tube version. And so if you're not familiar with Tritium tubes, this watch basically has these little tubes, and these are at each indice, at each hour marker. And these things will always glow. For the most part, right? They do have a 20-year half-life, and that's when in 20 years, it's going to be half as bright as when you got it. But this is like a decaying radioactive type material, and so this is always going to glow. This does not need any kind of sun or any kind of exterior energy to charge it up. It's always decaying, giving off some light. So Tritium tubes are very cool. I'm really glad they sent me this because I don't think my other version was Tritium, but I don't really remember. So let me give you guys the specifications, or what I like to call the check boxes. So this has 1,000 meter water resistance. Now this may not be a checkbox for many, but it's kind of a testament to the depth rating and the construction of this. So 1,000 meter water resistant. It has a 42-hour power reserve, and I love the fact that they actually listed the movement. This is the Miyota. It's a 21 joule self-winding automatic movement. 42 hours is a fantastic power reserve. You have those Tritium tubes. You do have a date indicator. Unidirectional rotating bezel. On these, it's a thin bezel, so you kind of got to, it's easy to turn. It locks in place with precision. It lines up. But if you had more of a coin edge on there, or gear edge I like to call it, it'd be a little bit easier to turn, but it turns well. It does have a helium release valve on the side here, and I like that they put it at the 10 o'clock position. That's kind of an odd spot. I don't see many, there's no advantage to it being there, but it's just kind of different. A lot of times they're always smack dab at the 9 o'clock position. I like that they kind of offset it. Now when you go, I'm reading this off the website by the way, 18 millimeters case thickness, 100 ATMs water resistance, 26 millimeter stainless steel bracelet. So nice thing about 26 millimeter, if you do want to change this up with a red strap, a blue strap, you can find them out there. This one does have a black dial, but it has kind of a combination of almost like a light gray and red. Just kind of around the exterior of the inside of the, I think it's called the chapter ring, but don't quote me on that. 3/16 stainless steel, again 54 millimeter case diameter, screw down crown. It does have a mineral lens, but I wouldn't even be concerned with this at all. Now, as far as the lume, this is where it gets a little bit confusing. So they're going to show you a picture of the watch on their site. When you click the link in the description, again, I'll send you to where it is available, but you can also read more about it directly on the RGMT site. I'm not going to read you the sales pitch, but it does show the lume on, again, the number markers on the bezel. It shows you on each number around the face of the watch. But the Tritium portion of it, I believe, is just these exterior, right here, these little rectangular portions. That's going to be your Tritium. Did I say that right? Your Tritium? I think I might have misspoke there. Sorry, folks. Yeah, Tritium. So, kind of cool. I think, you know, they don't really talk too much about, let's see here. They talk a little bit about Tritium. Well, let me just kind of go while I got you here. Tritium. So this is right off Google, okay? So tritium is a radioactive isotope of hydrogen naturally occurring in small amounts in the atmosphere and produced by a byproduct of nuclear reaction. So that's why it's always decaying. This says here, and I might have misspoke on this too actually, it says here the half-life is about 12.5 years. So I don't know where I got 20 from. Sorry about that, I didn't mean to misspeak on that. But it says here, again, this is just right off Google Search Labs. It says here 12.5 years when it's going to be half as bright. Now, I don't know when the full decay happens. I don't know if there's any kind of like, if its half-life is 12.5 years, that mean another 12.5 years is totally dead. Not really sure on that, but you know, nevertheless, even if, you know, that eventually stops glowing, it's still, you know, a very cool piece and definitely a beast of a watch to add to your collection. So now, good luck trying to get this. This was one of the watches, and this particular model, the Brite, has been around for a while now. They made two different versions of the Brite. One of them did not have the tritium tubes. It just had like, I have one that's, I think, just a silver face. I like the tritium version better. They make a denim blue, which is blue with orange. They make the green, the grease black, and of course the leather black. They all come with leather straps. This one comes with a brown strap. But again, it's totally out of stock. So I don't know what, I'm not sure why they sent me this to review if you guys can't even buy it directly from the manufacturer. But as always, I'll put the link where you can possibly pick this up, and of course for a reasonable price. It's a tank, man. It's a tank of a watch. So let's throw on the wrist. So I am 5'8", I weigh 180 pounds. I have a 7-inch wrist. This one is not sized yet, and I'm probably not going to size it quite yet, but they'll give you an idea of what it looks like. And if you know, if me holding this is kind of a problem for you, you can definitely see what this is going to look like as far as the size. Just Google, not Google, excuse me, YouTube, Phatkat, RGMT, Brite, and you'll see the other variations this I have reviewed. This was a very popular watch. Remember when I first did the review on these, I had a lot of the Invicta guys messaging me being like, dude, you know, like, dude, tell me more about that watch. So it's definitely popular. And I think in today's day and age, when it comes to the brands of watches out there, remember Invicta kind of created, you know, a group of folks who, you know, you guys know I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to watch collecting. Like, I wear big watches, I wear small watches. But there are guys who only wear watches that are like, you know, 50 millimeter. I think one of my buddies, like, he won't wear a 44. It's always like 47 and up, I think. He won't go into the 55 millimeter, so he has kind of his sweet spot. But there are guys who will only wear like 50 plus, only wear 55 millimeter. So, you know, but the thing is a lot of times these brands, like Aragon, that used to be a brand that you don't want, like I said, you want variety in your collection. So Aragon used to be a brand that folks would be like, oh man, I got my Invictas, but Aragon came out with a cool new 55 millimeter. And I've heard a lot of folks, like there was a petition for Aragon to start making larger timepieces again. So there's definitely a market out there. It's not for everybody. We all know that. We've all heard, you know, the watch snobs out there clowning on big, oversized timepieces. But, you know, there's not a lot of options out there. If you're looking for 55 millimeter, and this is 54, but in that 50, you know, 53 plus size watches, you really got to go with Invicta, Diesel, or this watch. There's not a lot of other ones out there. You might find some of the more expensive kind of Russian dive or German dive style watches, but I think this is a great piece. I absolutely love it. It's definitely one that I throw on the wrist often when I'm in the mood for a large piece. And when we look at my collection, when I want something in that 54, 55 millimeter, what are my choices? Sea Hunter, Grand Octane, and this, and my Diesel watch, right? So it definitely fits the bill for a lot of folks, and I feel like if you compare this to like a Diesel watch, you will think the quality is much better on this. It just feels more robust, it feels solid. Whereas Diesel, don't get me wrong, it's still a nice watch. It doesn't have the heft that this has. Of course, if you compare this to like an Invicta Sea Hunter or like even an Aragon old school 55 millimeter millipede, it's gonna feel the same. And what's really interesting about this, if I just kind of pick this up and feel it, like and just look at it real quick, I would think this is the Aragon Parma. So for you Parma fans out there, if you wanted that watch and didn't get your hands on it and, you know, now it's gone, definitely give this a go if you can get your hands on it. So let me show you guys some more close-ups here. A lot of metal on this bad boy. And RGMT, you know, I just want to say one more thing. You know, at least Nubeo, you can get their watches. RGMT, they're not they sell out quick. So I don't know, you know, I can tell you that as far as the lead generations that I brought to RGMT, it's not as high as Nubeo, but it's pretty darn close, and the sales are totally different, right? Hardly sold any RGMTs, and that's because a lot of times they would put the price, like they have a retail, and this is $19.50 on their site, right? And you know, they all play this numbers game. I wish they wouldn't do it. They don't do it so much with their Spinnaker brand, but I don't know why they continue to do it with the Nubeo and continue to do it with RGMT, but I think a lot of their watches, I don't know if they just put that they sold out. I just hope that by the time this video drops, that this is just a game they're playing. And I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm hoping that maybe by the time this video drops, that maybe you'll see it available. Because I'd really like you guys to be able to get it for $319 is what they have it on sale for. And then you can throw my coupon code on top of that. It should work. It doesn't work on every single watch. But, you know, I'd always like you to get it directly from manufacturer. But we'll see. You know, if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you do want to make a purchase and you're having a hard time finding it, I'll do my best to help you out. But I will, again, put the links to where you can hopefully find this watch. So thanks for watching. Have a great day, folks, and take care.